Welcome to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken. Shep will talk with some of the smartest thinkers in business to help make you more successful in your professional and personal life. This is Amazing Business Radio with Shep Hyken.
Hello, everybody. It's Shep Hyken here. We're back with another episode of Amazing Business Radio. We have a great show today. We're bringing a gentleman back who I had on the show probably 7 or 8 plus years ago. His name is Mikhail Naumov. He's now the CEO and founder of a company called Paylode. Now, this is not my normal type of program. We are going to be talking about customer experience and how to elevate the experience, but we're going to be showcasing what him and his company is doing to create more value for customers and thereby uplifting the experience. But before we get into the interview, a quick announcement or two. If you've got an amazing story that you'd like to share, or you have a question that you'd like me to answer, you can send those into any of the social media channels. I am pretty much everywhere. If it is a question, make sure you use the hashtag Ask Shep, and I'll answer the question there in the social channel. I might answer it in my newsletter, the Shepherd Letter. I might answer it on this show or my TV show, which is Be Amazing or Go Home. And you can catch some of the episodes on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Roku, and of course, you can binge all episodes at beamazing.tv. That is beamazing.tv. All right, it is time to get into our interview. Mikhail, welcome back to Amazing Business Radio.
Hi, Shep. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again because you are a repeat offender of Amazing Business Radio. You've been here before. And you and I met, gosh, I'm going to say 9 years ago at a conference in Portland, Oregon, where you had an AI product that you were so proud of. Is that right? It was an AI product?
It was, and in fact, it still is. If you remember, we built one of the first practical applications of machine learning and AI specifically for the contact center, powering airlines, e-commerce businesses, and so on. This was in the early days of AI, pre-GPT, in fact, pre-TensorFlow. So it was really the early days of pioneering these kinds of machine learning applications in the contact center.
So this is my comment after meeting you. I was talking to my wife that evening, and I said, so I met this guy, and 2 words, crazy smart. That's it. I may have dropped an F-bomb in there, but I can't say that on the air.
That's okay. I drop one every now and then.
Freaking crazy smart.
I don't deserve that, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, anyway, you have a new company. It's called Paylode. You are the founder and CEO of this company. And it intrigues me because I'm going to let you define for us what it is, but it intrigues me because it's all about thinking beyond what a company sells to its customers, clients, guests, whatever you want to call them, and actually giving them something of value that is not normally in your value proposition, which actually, once you start to give it, becomes part of your value proposition. Boy, is that confusing to the people listening, but go ahead and give us the big 50,000 foot view of what your company Paylode is about.
It's actually very simple, Shep. So customers have needs, and most companies out there are, for the most part, only selling one kind of product or one kind of service. So if you're a real estate company, you're renting apartments. If you're a car company, you're selling cars. If you're a pet adoption agency, you're helping people adopt a new puppy. And for the most part, that's where your job begins and ends. However, your customer, the moment they rent your apartment or buy your car or adopt your puppy, they're looking at their life and suddenly they have a dozen other problems or pain points they now have to face and solve as a result of making that purchase. So the example I use is why I started the company. I was moving from California to Miami back in the day, and I rented a new apartment. I signed my lease, and the moment I signed off, I realized, oh my God, I now need to go out and get rent insurance, moving truck, storage unit, furniture, appliance, food, my God, the list. And I said, wait a minute, I just signed a lease at a very reputable real estate property management company, and they have hundreds of thousands of tenants around the country. Why could they not have anticipated my secondary and tertiary needs, those complementary products and services every tenant has to buy? And why could they not have made my life easier by recommending some pre-vetted partners and moreover, helping me with pre-negotiated discounts on those exact products and services they already know I need to buy? And so that was the original pain point I experienced in my personal life. And I said, why aren't businesses better at helping me, not just with the thing they want me to buy that's theirs, but also think a step beyond into the other needs that I'm going to have?
I get it. I totally get it. I remember I sold I lived in a house. I was selling my house, and the real estate agent said, now that you've hired me, you don't have to worry about anything other than coming to the closing table. I go, what do you mean? You are out of your house. You still need to maintain your house. You still need lawn service. You can continue to use the people you've always had, but if you let me do it, I'm going to do everything for you. I've negotiated great rates, so we'll make sure you're okay with what they're not going to do it at, no charge or
Not for
complimentary.
nothing's
No,
free. Yeah.
I'm going to pay for these. I'm going to pay for people to come in every couple of weeks and dust things down and make things right. And when it was all said and done, it's like, well, that was the easiest transition I ever made, from moving from this house to over here. But that was one real estate agent out of so many that don't do this type of thing. So I get what you're thinking. I'm also thinking of my great client and good friends, Ace Hardware, who I
Yeah.
featured in several of my books, but actually made them a case study throughout an entire book, amaze every customer every time. And one of the things I jokingly say is, you don't want customers to come back to your store. Well, what do you mean by that? Like, they were afraid when I said that's the message we're going to send customers. But the message is, when you go for a project, you don't want to have them come back because they need something they forgot about. So in a way, if the salesperson, when they sell you a can of paint, doesn't ask you, do you need brushes with that? Do you need a drop cloth? What can I sell you? Okay. Now, this is a little different than what you're talking about, but what can I sell you to make sure you don't have to come back here for something that you forgot? But in your case, it's like, now that you've bought from me, what is it that you need beyond what you're actually buying that I can help you find? So, did I illustrate that well?
Precisely right. And the thing you mentioned is, at an Ace Hardware, you've got a sales representative that's whose job is to help you, before you leave, and anticipate your additional needs and
Mhm.
maybe offer them to you before you walk out the door. Your real estate agent, perfect example of a concierge-like service, but think about one out of thousands that
Right.
probably thought to do that. Now, at the scale of an individual, that's what makes individuals stand out among all the real estate agents. Think about now in terms of companies, right? So if a company, there are so many apartment companies out there that I could have rented from. The one that I chose to rent from would have had this kind of service already baked in as a table stakes, such that any tenant that moves in is guaranteed to get recommendations on pre-negotiated discounts on all those additional products. It becomes a table stakes service that you start thinking of when you're choosing, among competitors.
So does the real estate company, as an example, will they make money off of the referral?
As well, that's right. Although that's not their primary goal. And that was interesting. When I first started the company, I thought surely the biggest driver of this is going to be allowing our clients to better monetize ancillary products and services. In other words, to add a whole new stream of revenue into their business. And so that's what we hit the market with initially in the first year. Very, very quickly, though, we learned that although a new stream of income is nice and interesting, it was by far not the most important reason why our clients have chosen to do this. The number one reason is actually because they need to drive client engagement. And many times they're playing a way bigger game than just selling more products. They're actually playing a game of loyalty, a game of retention, a game of lifetime value of their customer, standing out among their competition by offering these extra services. And so that has been the primary driver for why our clients become our clients today. And just to stick with the real estate example today, we have over 1 million apartments that are benefiting from this technology that's now been, sold into multifamily REITs, biggest property management companies for multifamily and single family. And that's just one of our several verticals where we're focused.
So I love it. Really, your clients who would say to their customers, clients, whatever they want to refer to them as, hey, we aren't in the business of, like, we'll stay with the real estate business. We're not in the moving business.
Yeah.
But you're getting ready to move to, from here to there, whether it's across town or across the country, and we've got pre-negotiated rates. If you want to go out and get a couple of bids, great. But here's who we would recommend. And I see that somebody said, wow, okay. The thing about it, and I'm going to push back just a little, if I'm in the real estate business renting apartments, I might say to you, if you're approaching me, well, gosh, do I really have time to add this to I mean, does this just add aggravation to me? Does this just add
More work.
another level of complexity to
Hmm.
my business? Even though my clients may say this is great, or my tenants may say this is great, thanks for offering this. But on my side, administratively, or just thinking in terms of now I've got to train my leasing agents to continue to offer that. I mean, what do you get any of that from your clients?
Oh, well, first of all, absolutely. When we first started the process, before we built any product or wrote any code, we called on about 100 companies, starting with real estate, but also a few others, hotels, insurance companies, et cetera, pet care. And we said, hey, are you guys thinking about offering complementary products, secondary, tertiary cross sells, if you will? And they said, my God, you caught us just at the right time. We are right now in the middle of figuring out how to do this whole cross sell thing correctly. And I said, oh, really? Well, how are you approaching it? And what are you doing? How's it going? And they say it's a disaster. It's really difficult. I mean, if you think about all the work that you just said, Shep, which is like, that's the reason most companies never start. And the few proactive ones and innovative ones that actually do start, about 6 months in, they start realizing, boy, this is harder than we thought. Why? Number one, they have to do all this research and diligence on who are the third-party businesses that have the products and services that are important to their customers. Once they've identified those people, they need to call on them and start negotiating discounts and offers that they can pass along to their own customers. So that's a whole process. Let's say they do this for a while and now they get a couple of offers from a couple of complementary brands. Now they have to get the engineering resources to start embedding those offers into the various workflows or digital streams that the customer goes through. That's a whole engineering work. And at the end of the day, if they manage to do all that, they're probably a year in and they still can't measure and track correctly. So this is why it's a challenge and why a lot of companies, haven't done it or have tried but stalled out at a certain level. So that's where we came in. We said, wait a minute, it sounds like very, very similar. This is like sales before CRM. Like this is what it kind of sounds like. And if we could just find the right solution and put together the right platform to help automate and streamline most of this annoying work, it would be as easy as a few clicks. And that's essentially what we got to today with our product, which is that if you are a business and you want to launch a complimentary perks and engagement program for your customer base, you can do that today with Paylode in about 20 to 30 minutes.
Wow, amazing. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk about how this applies more to the B2B world, because we've been talking about more consumer related concepts. And we'll get into that and a whole lot more. We are talking with Mikhail Naumov at Paylode, a brand new company. Well, probably not that. How old now?
A few years, yeah. We started a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago. Yeah, who's just, kicking it and making it work. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. We're talking with Mikhail Naumov of Paylode. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment. One of my favorite sayings is that customer service isn't a department, it's a philosophy. And it's a philosophy that must be embraced by everyone in the organization all the time, and that's 24/7. So if customer service is important to you, and I know it is, then you will love our virtual training, the ultimate on-demand customer service and experience training program that you can access anytime, anywhere. Now, the course content applies to everyone, regardless of position and responsibility, from senior executives to the most recently hired and everyone in between. You'll discover tips, ideas, and strategies that won't cost your company a fortune, but will produce what I call moments of magic, those positive experiences, and it will happen at every level of your organization. So go to Customer Service VT. That's V as in virtual, T as in training. That's customerservicevt.com. It's time to get customer focused.
You're listening to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken.
We are back on Amazing Business Radio. We're talking with Mikhail Naumov of Paylode, and this is an interesting, cool concept that ups the customer experience because it allows a company, whether they're in the B2B world or B2C world, to offer something of value that's outside of what they normally do, supporting their customers, taking care of their customers. And in some cases, they might even profit from that. But if anything, they build loyalty, which in itself creates profit. So what I want to do now, Mikhail, is I want to move. A great example with the real estate. I think everybody can relate to renting an apartment, even if they've never have, they know people that have. How does this work in the B2B world?
Sure. Well, first of all, businesses are people too, right? If you think about it, there's someone at that business who needs to make decisions. There's someone there who's in a purchasing capacity. So if, let's say you've just started a business, the moment before you know it, you register your domain name, right? And so you have to buy that domain name from another business, let's say a name.com or a GoDaddy or what have you. Well, right after you did that, you now are a person who started a business who now owns this beautiful domain name. But think about all the other business needs you have. You're probably going to need some kind of insurance policy for your business. You're probably going to need some kind of legal service. You're probably going to need a whole suite of software tools, CRM systems, et cetera, et cetera. And much like in the consumer side of our business, the perks we offer are consumer services, like discounts on food, moving trucks, storage units, et cetera. In the B2B world, it can be pre-negotiated exclusive discounts on business software and business services. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a recommended vendor list that you have.
But pre-negotiated with exclusive discounts just for being the client of our customer. I'll give you one more example in the B2B, folks listening. JLL is a client of ours. They're great.
Yep. Another client of mine as well.
Wonderful. See, love it. I hope they're listening in right now. So what they put people in office spaces. That's one of the many things they do. But in our particular use case, they're using the Paylode program to incentivize people to come back to work more often and to have more benefits by reporting into the office instead of working remote all the time. So as a B2B, they're looking for other ways to incentivize their clients who are small and medium-sized and sometimes large businesses to get their employees back into the building. And sometimes they run sweepstakes and giveaways, and we help them power that by providing those additional complementary products and services for the people that come in.
Right. So you have another product, and I love the name of it. It's called Boost. And I think you're kind of leaning into this when you talk about, especially in the B2B world, I see it happening. I mean, in my mind is swarming with ideas right now. I'm thinking to myself, boy, I would have loved to have been on the ground floor and been one of your investors.
Oh, well,
it's probably not too late.
I appreciate that, Shep. We'd always love to have you. You're a great thought leader, and this is part of why I'm back on your podcast. So thanks for having me. Look, with Boost, we had such a wonderful reception to our perks product, which we just talked about earlier. But then we started getting clients asking us, wait a minute, how can we use some of these perks, not just as an engagement tool, not just as a benefit, but as a way to motivate and reward our customers for taking specific desirable actions that we want them to take. Said, wait a minute, how does that work? What kind of actions do you want to motivate them? And then, the whole world bust open because they said, oh my God, we want people to install our app. We want people to sign up for a membership. We want people to enroll in paperless billing. We want people to submit their email address. We want them to upload some documents, and we want them to do all these things. But they're not doing it, and we can't figure out why. And so I said, wait a minute, hold on a second. Shep, I'm sure you've seen in your own, world, like you're still getting paper bills, like from insurance companies or whoever, and they're saying, hey, here's your bill, etc. They're spending millions of dollars a year sending out paper mail. And inside their mobile app, they have one button that encourages you as the customer to enroll in electronic billing and invoicing. And believe it or not, a great portion of their customers still haven't done that. Well, why?
I'm guilty. I'm guilty as charged.
Well, you know what? In some cases, as am I. Now, let's examine that for a minute. A company is trying to save tens of millions of dollars on their paper costs, and they're trying to get you to opt into electronic billing, but they're forgetting the most important question or the most important radio station.
As what's in it for me?
WIFM. That's right. So we both clearly listen to that. And so if you think about it, what's in it for me? What is in it for you, Shep, to opt into that paperless billing? Well, what if you can reward that specific action with some kind of offer or a perk or a freebie? And it turns out that all companies, virtually of all sizes, are interested in doing that. And so we said, wait a minute, we could literally use our perks infrastructure we built, not just to set up these perks programs, but to also pick and choose a couple of really, really cool exclusive offers and match them up to specific desirable actions that the business wants their customer to take. And so the paperless billing is one example where, hey, I'll enroll into electronic billing and get this reward. And the reward could be a gift card. It could be a massive discount. It could be 6 months free of Netflix or Hulu or Audible, one of these programs you might be interested in trying out, but just didn't want to pay for. And now you get it for free just for taking an action that a business wants you to take.
Yeah.
And that's Paylode Boost.
The other day, I was on a call with my credit card company because
Mhm.
there was a fraud alert. They were very, very quick and nice to deal
Yeah.
with it. And they asked me, did I want to go paperless on the billing? And I actually said, no, I want to be
Mhm.
green. But here's the thing, I need to print out the bill, or at
Yeah.
least one sheet of the bill,
Yeah.
not the whole bill. Usually it's 4 or 5 pieces of paper. I only need one sheet, and that is what's itemized. So I can go through and manually dedicate it to the
Mhm.
account that it belongs in. Is it
Yeah.
business, is it personal? Most everything's business on that card, but
Mhm.
once in a while. And I need to have that. And that's part of how I keep my records.
Mhm.
And I just thought, is there a way for you only to send me that one sheet? But here's a simple action. I just, see it. I only print the one page when it gets there. But they gave me no incentive to do that other than would you? They gave me an option.
And that's the key. We live in an incentives driven economy. Okay. And if you as a business want your customers to take actions because it's beneficial for your business, you might as well start thinking about what's in it for them. How can you reward them for taking those desired actions? And a lot of times the cost of that reward, especially if you do it through us, it's negligible. It could be free basically, but yet it provides value to your customers. And so the economic model on something like paperless billing is a complete no-brainer when you think about the amount of money that could be saved on paper costs.
Yeah, I love this. We live in an incentive business economy.
Yeah.
I think that's an Xable/tweetable line right there.
But Xable, I like the Xable line. That's true. Very true. Very true.
All right.
And
We are down to the very end where I always ask the last question. You answered this question when we were on our show before, and that's the one thing question. Is there one idea, one thought, one nugget of wisdom that you would like to share that would actually make people go, aha, I totally get it, or I understand it, or this is something I want to
mhm,
do? What would
mhm.
that little piece of advice be?
Look, yeah, good question, Shep. So look, we're all spending a lot of time heads down, sometimes tunnel vision on our own business and our own life, whatever's happening. What I would encourage every business owner, an executive, or an operator, or anybody working in a business is to actually take a step outside of that tunnel and take a look and think about your customers' needs beyond whatever core product or service it is that your company is currently providing. As in the examples I outlined, real estate, insurance, travel, hotels, cars, it's great. You want to sell more cars, but think about it from the point of view of your customer. What new problems showed up in their life as a consequence of buying that car from you? And then meet them where they are proactively and help them solve those secondary and tertiary problems in a tasteful way that creates loyalty, engagement, and gratitude from your customers to you for life. That's
Wow.
the short one.
I don't think you could have scripted that any better and clearer. Thank you very much. And it's great to see you again, Mikhail. Great to have you
Likewise.
back on the show.
Likewise, Shep. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, that wraps it up. Another episode of Amazing Business Radio. We will be back next week with another amazing interview. Until that time, this is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.